We here. So I ain't gonna be on here too much long because you know how I go, man. I'm always working. So knowing that right now, this is a crazy situation that's literally happened in America. Next month, the stamps will be removed off pretty much a lot of people's benefit, like food stamps, SNAP, EBT. Now, this is where it gets kind of funny. People who kind of bash people for being on EBT and being on food stamps didn't really know that SNAP carried the same benefit. So if you're on SNAP, it's the same thing as EBT. It's the same thing as food stamps. So a lot of people thinking that SNAP is a different program. They still give you food just like food stamps and EBT. And just a misunderstanding to the point where you voted for things that happened and it didn't go the way you planned. Like literally, hunger don't have no name. Food stamps don't have no name. Food stamps don't have no color. And when I say no name, that means no specific gender or specific ethnic background. And it was always pushed that a lot of black people on food stamps. It's not a bashing video, but this is just mainly a video talking about the task at hand really on what's going on right now in society. Because running the numbers from the USDA, you have literally 35% of white Americans are on food stamps. And people would think, no, it's more black people on food stamps. But you really have to really do the numbers to really know what you're talking about. So if America is majority white, some people like prefer Caucasian, so why wouldn't it be some of the people being on food stamps or, as they say, SNAP benefits? Because you have to really realize that when it comes down to it, you run the numbers, you do the numbers. Everybody that's white is not going to be rich. Everybody that's black not going to have a lot of money. Chinese, Mexican, and so forth. There's all ethnic backgrounds. Everybody's not top tier making tons of money. There are going to be some poor people throughout. I'm doing fine. How are you? So when you really start talking about it, man, it's literally crazy out here. Okay, I'm just gonna run the numbers real quick. You literally have 35% white people on food stamps. You have 26% black people on food stamps, 16% Mexican, and 4% Chinese. And then you have that small demographic of others and things of that nature. What's going on? And so running those numbers, traffic. Shiny, what's going on with you? I'm in traffic now. I can dip down. I stop. So running those numbers, you start to see it's a lot of mixture of everybody on food stamp that's getting food stamps. And with them cutting it off, there's going to be a lot of people not, pretty much having food. Like I said, it's not a black thing. It's a poor thing to a degree. Because there are people who on food stamps that work a 9 to 5. There are people who on food stamps because they have so many kids. So it's not just affecting the people that have kids, it's affecting the people that don't have kids. Because you got to understand, there are some people that work a 9 to 5. They're prime example. You have people that are disabled. They're living on their own, or they have some sort of assistance, but they don't make enough money or enough hours at their job, so therefore they have food stamps. Their stamps are going to be cut. So now they have to rely on the family members and things of that nature. You have elderly people who don't work. They get food stamps. They have to rely on that to get money. You really don't understand how bad it is. Like literally, I'm sorry I didn't even put the video out. There's a what's going on, people? There's a video that I didn't even I had the video, didn't I finished editing, didn't even put it out yet, but this just popped up. I did a video about an elderly lady at 76 years old. She stays in her car. And the only reason she lives in her car is due to the fact that the increase on rent and everything is too high. She didn't own a home. She couldn't afford the place she was staying in. So she had to ultimately move in her car at 76 years old. No family. What's going on? She literally has no family. And you will say, well, how did this 76-year-old lady don't have no family? You got to understand, there are so many people going through the foster system every year. And if she never married, never had kids, she stayed alone, she's one of the ones that no family. Like, nobody to go with the legacy. You're the first and the last, basically. So with her being in this situation to where she had to start sleeping in her car at 76 years old, she gets her senior coffee, but luckily she stays in Florida where it don't get really that cold. And people looking at that video trying to find if they can assist her by letting her stay in a room or something like that and giving her like a $200 a month rent or something. But that's what happens with most people. Like, a lot of us don't even have that much money. I mean, even granted myself, I talk about finance all the time. I'm not that well off. I'm not this Warren Buffett and hidden YouTuber that has an abundance of money. I give money to the homeless. I give money to people. Not everybody gets my money, but I do occasionally give money to people. And one time I had a situation where the guy was mad and was cussing and clowning, and I literally told him, you got it made. You get to stand out here and ask for money every day. I got to go to work and work hard for less money. And then I got to turn around and give you the money. So before you start yelling at people talking about we have more than you got to understand the situation we in. You got a free place to stay. You don't have to pay no bills. You can go to a shelter and stay there for free. I got to go pay bills. I got kids. I got wife. I got to pay all this. So at the end of the day, you criticizing people in a situation that they're probably worse off than you, but they're making it work because why? They have no choice. If you have a family, you got all these, bills and situations you got to take care of. That's something that you have to do. That's something that you really have to do. And a lot of people, granted, looking at, oh man, but you have so much. Who have so much? To the degree, my kids, I tell them sometimes, you kind of spoil. My son just got, one of them just got a pair of $200-$300 shoes. I don't know what's the name of them. My other son got a pair of $250 Jordans. When I was younger, I didn't get Jordans like that. When I bought my first pair of, or had my first pair of Jordans? When I was 19 years old, I bought my first pair, 19 or 20, I bought my first pair of Jordans. But before that, when I had a job, I had the money to buy Jordans. I didn't buy Jordans because they were too expensive. I can buy 2 for 89 Reeboks they had back in the day, and I have 2 pair of shoes, or I can buy some shoes on discount for $50-$60 and still have money to buy my school clothes with. That's how I learned how to budget from back in the day, where when I had to buy my own stuff and pay my own dues for wrestling and stuff in that nature, I literally had to budget my money or I would go without. That's far as the flyness of myself today, and things of that nature. But when it came down to it, I tell a lot of people that a lot of people live paycheck to paycheck. Some people have stocks, bonds, what have you. I'm granted happy I don't have any car notes. I try to buy my cars cash, or if I do get a car note, I try to pay it off by, put more money down when I get my tax return. When I have any little extra money come in, pay it off fast. If I work a second job, I can devote a lot more money towards that. Paying that bill off fast, to where you will be surprised how much money you spend every month. Granted, like I was saying with the food stamps, it's going to be a lot of people go without. You know, I was already saying about canceling Christmas, to the degree to where I didn't want to buy as much stuff for Christmas anyway. What's going on, people? I didn't want to buy that much stuff for Christmas anyway, due to the fact that I just literally wanted my sons to have a couple of clothes, maybe give them a little money, let them buy their own stuff, because they older now. They're not as cool. I can't buy them the coolest stuff that they like now. One of my sons, he got a, what was it? Not rhinestone. I think it was like rhinestone. It looked like almost like a rhinestone bedazzled type of sweater. And I'm like, man, that looks like something that a girl would wear. But the design is cool, but that's what they're into. That's what these young kids are into. I don't let them get away with their skinny jeans in my house, but, make them wear a belt. I tell them, hey, you can wear all this. I told all my kids, from my oldest to my youngest, you can wear all this crazy stuff, hairstyles, when you get out my house. But when you're in my house, you're a reflection of me. Carry yourself a certain way, act a certain way. Let people know you have parents that respect you and respect them. So Christmas is not going to be as big as it usually is. And it's not because I don't have the, who knows what's going to happen. And I'm not going into debt rich. I kind of do every year. My wife don't, because she don't buy as much gifts. She kind of looks at me as Santa Claus every year and tell me, stop buying so many gifts. But you got to understand, coming from a kid that didn't get a lot of stuff for Christmas, I always shower my kids with gifts. My two older kids, I think the first and second Christmas when I first got with my wife, they literally got I think I spent probably almost $1,500 on them, from clothes to toys, video games. Like, I bought my son a robot. I bought him 2 robots for Christmas. I bought him a whole bunch of clothes because he liked robots. So I bought him a robot. I bought his sister Apple iPod or something back in the day, or Apple Nano, one of those things. And as they got older, they got tablets, MacBooks, and all this stuff. But when it came down to it, I got them a lot of stuff, but I also broke it down to them that we're not rich, but at the same time, you ought to be grateful for the things that you're getting. That was the moral of it, because I wanted to let them know, even though I was getting them these things, not to spoil them in a sense, but letting them know that, hey, it's good to get nice things for yourself. But at the same time, don't take this as a sense of being uppity or being better, because some people do go without. Prime example, one of my cousins, his friend, they went and played baseball. This guy didn't have no baseball cleats. Everybody got cleats. The coach was getting on the whole time about getting cleats. And, he barely had shoes to wear. So my aunt, she found some cleats for $25. She bought the kid a pair of cleats. She got him a pair of Jordans when they went to the Nike outlet. And there was some Jordans. There were some Jordan ones. And she bought them for the kid. Brought them both to school, gave to the boy. And the boy took the shoes because he knew what size the boy wear. Because I think he was sharing shoes with him in baseball. So he took his old shoes, took them, put them in the box, and put on the Jordans right then and there. And they made a big scene about it with my aunt, about giving the boy shoes and stuff. And like, you can't be bringing stuff like this to the school. She's like, it's my money. I do what I want. Talk to the boy parents. The parents was, up and down. They was a little embarrassed about it, but it was the point. My aunt said, this is my son's friend, and I'm going to give him what I want. And this is the thing where people nowadays, we can't even hardly do that, because the whole shaming and all this crazy stuff that's going on. And not to mention that a lot of people aren't as nice as they were back in the day. The helping your fellow neighbor, I can tell you right now, I know my two neighbors in my cul-de-sac. I don't know them personally. I know, what's the guy, Ron? I forgot the older lady that stays next to me, but those two the only people I know in my neighborhood. No, I know. Well, I don't even know the old man up the street. I just say hey to him because I know his granddaughter because she went to school with my daughter. Other than that, I only know 3 people in my whole neighborhood. I'm high and by to everybody. I wave, that's about it. Other than that, I don't talk to too many people. Back in the day, when I stayed with my grandma, the house we stayed in, I knew my neighbors over there. Behind us, Miss Diane. Next door to us, we had a group home over there, and most of those kids went to school with us. When we moved out towards the countryside in Atlanta, I didn't know those neighbors because there was a farm next to me. There was a peacock farm. That's how wild it was. In the city, the guy had a peacock farm. And then on the other side of my grandma's house, there was an abandoned house nobody stayed in. So, only time we wanted to play football or go hang with the friends, we had to go down to the apartments. But needless to say, we don't have that relationship with our neighbors no more. Nobody sits here and, knows your neighbor. The whole thing of bringing a pie to your neighbor house, like Leave It to Beaver or what's the Brady Bunch type. People aren't doing that no more. They don't want nobody in their house because people steal within the neighborhood. The guy that Ron that stays two doors around from me in my cul-de-sac, he told me the young guy that comes through our cul-de-sac with a dirt bike, he broke into his house with 2 other guys. Only reason he knew it was him, he was the only guy who wasn't wearing a mask when they broke in his house. And I'm like, man, it's just getting crazy out here. And like I said, with the food stamps being cut off, it's going to get even wilder. Thanksgiving is probably going to be shot for a lot of people. A lot of people buy food for Thanksgiving this way. And then not to mention, you have family members. We all going to get together. We always have our Thanksgiving. We have some money, so we're going to be good. But the point of it is, how many family members are going to have Thanksgiving this year? Is Thanksgiving actually going to be off the table? I know as far as Christmas is pretty much, I'm not buying my stuff in December. I'm buying my stuff now, and I'm giving my kids money. I'm telling them they can spend the money first of the year, but that's about it. I don't want them buying nothing in December. I want to bust up the economy to where this is going to be the worst spending in December history, because a lot of times to reset the economy, we got to spend more money, but to reset the corporations, we got to spend less money. The whole thing with Target went off, man, rah. A lot of people don't shop at Target like that anyway, and the people that do shop at Target, they stop going there. Whoop-dee-doo. If you know, you know. Same time, it's like it affected Target so bad to the point where it made a difference in some cases, but others it didn't. Because if you really don't shop at Target, what's it to you? Corporation like Amazon. Amazon made that guy, he increased his profit by 15% from last year to this year. I'm sorry, not 15%, 15 million. He increased his profit by 15 million from last year. You think he gave his warehouse workers a raise, those delivery people raises? No. There are a lot of corporations so greedy that don't want to give no raises, no Christmas bonuses, nothing. But at the same time, we have to get on that spin wheel and go to work. We got to get on that spin wheel and make sure that they make their money. In the end, when we start running the numbers and doing the numbers, companies making millions, but how much are they giving to the workers? Understanding that giving goes a long way. And not to saying that corporations should go broke or corporations should give everybody all this money and they go without. I know running a business take money. I know running a business, you have to have sometimes sacrifices where you're not giving. But when there's profit to be made, the workers get, because without good workers, you really, really and truly are not going to have a successful company. And that's just go without saying. You're not going to have a successful company if you really don't put forth the effort in giving back to your employees. I don't care what you say, I don't care what you're talking about. If you truly don't give back to your employees, what's it to you? The success rate is slim to none. Slim to none. I seen a guy, he had his own business, and what's the name of it? I can't remember, but basically, he took a $4 million pay cut and gave it to all his workers. Every worker pretty much started off at $75,000. That starts with the janitors. That's not even the mailroom. The janitors make at least $75,000. That's at bare minimum. Then he went up mailroom, 80 to 90. Clerks and all that in the office, 100,000. Managers making over 125. You know what happened? They had a baby boom. All those people in the office were having kids. All those people in the office were buying cars, buying houses, because what they say, we can afford it. And guess what? The dude 4x his money. The employees were working harder. They were producing more. They made his company worth 4 times its net worth in 1 to 2 years. The first year he didn't see the big difference, but that second year, going off that first year when he initiated, 4 times his money. And the crazy part is, he still didn't lose profit in his raise. He still gave himself a raise. He got back that $4 million and some. But the point of it is, this was a guy that took a chance on his employees, and it paid off. A lot of companies should know, but this is the golden rule. Starve the bottom, feed the top. What they call it, the hamster wheel. How many people run the hamster wheel compared to the people that are outside looking at the hamster run the wheel? What's the old saying? If 4 guys working, 4 guys looking, the whole construction thing, you got 4 construction guys teaching 1 guy how to do something because they're not doing any work. They're making that 1 guy do everything. It's always going to be that one person. Every job, you're going to have that one person that you're trying to help or something like that. But it's just in nature, like naturally, there are people that are just good at their job. They know how to get done easy. They can help others, But then you have those ones that struggle. And most of the time, the job hires the struggling one to try to get the one that works so good to help them. And in the end, guess what? The one that's okay, just barely getting it, he goes and mess up everything. Then the guy who's coming in, knowing everything, has to go clean up that mistake. I've done that several times at my job. When I first got on at my job, the guy trained me probably for a week. Didn't even really have to. I was sitting in the passenger seat. I think the first couple of stops, he just had me get out, watch what he do. Then he sat in the truck, he drove, and I dropped the rest of the stuff. I'm like, dude, this is not hard. This is not a hard job. This is not a hard job. I mean, the pay should be a little more, but it's not a hard job. And that goes without saying with a lot of jobs, man. Like, these jobs are not hard, man. These are pretty much easy jobs, man. It's when it comes down to it, man, you got to look at how easy a lot of people got it made with these jobs. But then the corporations, they not pulling out of their pocket. They're not giving people money. They're giving people enough money to survive. Prime example, my job has a lot of owner-operators. I would never be an owner operator for my job. It makes no sense. The type of money the amount of money that they give, I would be stupid, to actually take on that position. I'm a driver, but I would literally be crazy to take on the responsibility of buying me a truck, paying my truck note, paying my insurance, paying for my workers' comp. Because, if you're a contractor, you don't have workers' comp. If you're a contractor, you get hurt, you just hurt. If you want days off, you don't get paid. You don't have vacation days. So you got to save money for that. If your truck goes out, something happened to your truck, you got to pay for that truck. So it don't benefit me to be a owner operator from the amount of money that the owner operators get. Not saying that they dumb, but I just don't think that they're using a lot of common sense by working there. One guy, he proved it to me. He actually stopped being a contractor, started his own business doing something else, and came back to my job as a regular worker, a company worker, and seeing how he was spending so much money as a contractor, and he was like, I'll never do that again. Especially with this company. He said, well, somebody else maybe, but he was like, man, like for me putting my own gas in the truck, me doing maintenance on my truck, he said majority of the time he made the same money he made now. I think he was clearing $98,000 a year. But after it was all said and done, he was making $68,000. After it was all said and done. Once he, paid for his gas, maintenance, insurance, his truck was paid off good for that. But stuff like that, you still got to hold account for that if you're an owner operator. It's just coming from people that know trucking. Even with workers in the office environment, it's a lot of work into that, and for you to freelance, that means you don't have no health benefits, none of that. Like, you literally depending on yourself. So if you don't go to work and you don't make it work, you don't get money. A lot of people want to be CEOs and bosses, own your own company. I'm just going to say, being in a position that, have work outside of work and having my own, 5 to 9, if I don't feel like going to work that day, it's fine. But at the same time, I don't make no money. I literally don't make money if I don't go to work. And then that puts a strain because I work, pretty much word of mouth, but deal with clientele to where if I arrange something, I have to go out there and, do the job unless they're going to get somebody else. I mean, it's better said than done to say, hey, man, I don't feel like working today. It's raining. But if it's raining, I still got to go to work. I still got to put in that time in the rain because I've already made a deal with this person. Whether they put down a deposit for me to go out there and still work, or not even just that, for them to, actually need it done ASAP. What if it's something where a tree fell on their house, small tree, I have a chainsaw, charge them $150 to come cut down a small tree, or $200 to come cut down a small tree. Then I gotta wait till tomorrow and rain gets in their house. I have to go do it then. And like I said, the economy is so crazy. There's literally to the point where I'm talking to so many people. There's a lot of people with multiple jobs. And seeing for a lot of people on YouTube and all social media, content creation is another job, actually. Because especially if you get paid from it, that's another job. For the people that don't get paid from it, it's still work. You know how much time it take you to do videos, to edit? Like, that's why I've been away for so long. Like, I've been so busy doing my other work, I pretty much hardly don't even have time to content create. I pretty much am at a point to say, well, When I got free time, I go in there and do a video. But other than that, man, I pretty much almost gotta let it go to a degree. If I can get on and do a video and get my message across and bow out gracefully, cool. But other than that, man, it's to the point where I'm always moving. Like, I'm steady going. I'm steady, fast track, trying to get to the next paycheck, trying to get next to that little side job. My wife, I was messing with her one day. So I told her, I said, why every time you borrow money from me, you just, can I borrow $10? Can I borrow $100? I need an extra $200 for this bill. I say, all right, give me a day. All right, let me go in this account. Give me a minute. Because I got to transfer money from certain accounts and all this stuff. The little difficulty with that. Then it's what I be like, hey, you got $50 I can get? Yeah, but I want my money back Friday. I'm going to take it out your account. I'm like, why is that? She be like, well, you make more than me, plus you have all this side money. I'm like, you can make side money too. But I laugh at it. But the thing is, when it comes down to it, it's just crazy out here. You're gonna need an extra side job. Uber and DoorDash. I've even told my wife, shout out to what's Player Talk Radio? What's his name? I didn't want to say that name. It's not that. I'm thinking of the crazy name somebody called him, but it's not that. I can't think his name. It come back to me, but I think it's ACU, something like that. It's a platform to where you can read audiobooks for people, and they pay you by the audiobooks. I told my wife, get into that. I'm like, you work from home, you got a microphone, you call center where you answer calls and talk to people. You got a nice voice for that. And I was like, if they want a lady to read a book, you're a good candidate. What they call those remote jobs. They got a lot of jobs you can do from home. You can do from anywhere with it, as long as you have an internet connection. A lot of people are looking at ways to make money. I mean, just having these social media sites that generate money from this faceless YouTube and faceless social media pages, a lot of people can get into that. But it's the whole thing. You got to have that breaking video that can put you in the game, to put you over the top. And some people, they stick around for it to pop. Some people don't. They just, get tired, burnt out. They don't want to do it no more. But my thing is, stick it out. Jobs are jobs. And if you put yourself in a situation to win, you're going to win. Prime example with right now, you have a lot of people that are into, coding. That's a big thing right now. My son, he actually got a job, network. What is it? My oldest son, not my youngest, but my oldest son, he just got a not coding, but cybersecurity. That's what it is. He got a job in cybersecurity. Then, you got construction and everything. Home Depot has this new course to where you can do HVAC, plumbing, and electrical, I think, through there, to where they have like a tutorial course. And for those that don't know, Home Depot has a Mighty, a Young Builder workshop every first Saturday of every month. You could take your kid to Home Depot in the morning. I think it's like 10 o'clock, 8 or 10 o'clock. They have a workshop for kids to come in there and learn how to use hammers and build things. That's going to be our future builders and future workers of America. Because you got to understand, if we don't train our kids now, AI is not going to put in your AC unit. And then, what comes with that? Price gouging. You're literally going to have so many, literally right now is crazy. My friend, he needed the inside of his toilet changed out. Not a new toilet, but the inside of his toilet where you flush it, the floater comes up. The floater and I forgot what kind of valve that is messed up in the back. Don't you know a guy told him for them to come out and do that is literally gonna be what did he tell me? He said they were charging him $350, I think. If I ain't mistaken, $350 to come out there and do that. I was talking to a lady at Home Depot. She was telling me just to come change the toilet, they have a company that changes toilets for $415. The cheapest she found them was $375 to do the toilet. And I'm like, man, like highway robbery. Literally highway robbery just to put in the toilet. And who's gonna stop them? You know what I'm saying? Who's gonna stop these people from charging these outrageous prices on, work? Nobody can stop them because at the end of the day, hey, let's snatch this money out, put it in this bank real quick. But nobody's gonna really stop them because due to the fact they cornered the market on this. They literally can price out whatever they want. Prime example, my friend, he has a septic tank that he needed. Turn that off. My friend has a septic tank. He has a get done at his house. And the crazy part about doing the septic tank, he literally talked to the guy. Guy told him that it's gonna be $8,000 to $13,000 for that septic tank. $8,000 to $13,000. And I'm like, that's a good ballpark figure. But you gotta understand, like, who's really making these prices on this stuff? I'm watching myself. I'm at the ATM. People walking up beside my car and stuff. But I'm like, who really doing these prices for that stuff, man? Like, getting your car repaired, going to the dealership, man, I'm talking about completely knocking you over the head. You go anywhere else, they hit you at a greater cost. You got places like what's it, Mavis Tire Shop down. I don't know if y'all got them in every state. You have Firestone down here, Goodyear, all those places, Pep Boys, all those places, man, they hit you over the head. What is it, Precision Auto, statewide, they charge maybe, I think, $125 an hour for working on your car. When I had my radiator back in the day, need to be replaced, this guy was charging $155 an hour, minimum 3 hours, but it was gonna take them, he said 4 hours, 4.5 hours, something like that. So he was trying to get that 4.5 on fixing my car for like $150 or $155. I'm like, dude, that's like what, $525 or something like that? For just that's just the labor, $525, and getting the part. And they were doing all that to my insurance, my warranty people that I had. And I'm like, man, this is literally crazy. Like, this is the price gouging when you don't have many people in that market that can, buffer that. Like I told you about plumbers. Plumbers gonna charge a lot because the gap is big. It's not a lot. All the old plumbers are dying off. The old plumbers not wanting to do this no more. HVAC, same thing. One of this old guy used to recommend to everybody to do HVAC. He retired at 58. Guy was in the military, got his military pension. He had enough money to retire till he was 65. He said, I got money to go past that, but when I get 65, then I can start pulling my Social Security. Like counting chickens before they hatch. Because I mean, literally, it's to the point where people just tired of the workforce, not even wanting to work no more. I mean, it gets to that point sometimes. Literally, like, man, I don't want to do this no more. And a lot of people are looking at their options or weighing their options comparing to, do I want to still do this? You know? And like I said, don't make it no better that they're cutting the food stamps. They don't make it no better that when it comes to a lot of the jobs, they're cutting jobs. It's literally to the point where what are we going to do for ourselves? You know, the government shut down. A lot of people going to have a lot of free time. I say pick up a trade. They have a lot of free courses that you can take online to learn something. A lot of free courses. I told my wife, if I literally had the time, I would sit myself down, learn coding. I would sit myself down, be more productive in other areas besides what I'm doing now. And like my wife, this is just a small thing for me because I can get back in a big truck. I mean, I can get back on a big truck, not driving, but just working on a big truck and make way more money than I'm making now. But then that relationship with my kids will be, you know, up and down. Because I don't want my kids not to stay. My younger kids are just pretty much grounded as they're going to get. And without me being in their face every day, looking at them, talking to them, you know, kids do steer away from that. So that's one of my main sacrifices with me making a lot of money is being there mostly for my kids. You know, I make enough money. I'm good for myself. I mean, I'd rather do this side of work right here while I'm at home because I can go out of town and make buku of money. But at the same time, the environment will be good for me as far as money. But then the behaviors of my kids, I don't want that to go away. Like literally just get bad or get any worse than what people already talk about kids are right now. So I try to keep myself grounded as far as with my kids doing things, you know, taking them places. I took them to a haunted maze, but they want to go to a haunted house, so I'm taking them to the haunted house, you know, doing all this stuff, taking them to cornfields, and, you know, let them experience stuff. You know, I'll be talking to them about certain things that I did when I was young that they don't do or not even thinking about doing, you know. With them having an IUL, shout out to Alonzo, you know. I'm like, don't you know when you get older and in your 30s and 40s, you're gonna have most money. You're gonna have more money than most of your friends. You know, you're gonna be to the point where you can take the money out of there and put it on a house than most of your friends. I literally got to a point of setting you up better than most. That's the whole reason why a lot of times out of these videos to actually get my kids insight to where you can go back and look at one of my videos talking about things and learning about stocks, you know, getting you invested the right way so when you have the money, you know what to do with it. Not going to the Louis Vuitton, the first thing you want to do is go to a Louis Vuitton store and buy some shoes or do like these boys nowadays and buy man purses. Boy purse to me, but I'm not wearing no handbag. I don't care. I mean, nah, not doing it. A book bag, yes. But it's not a teeny book bag. A big book bag, yes. You know, I put out my stuff in a book bag and I still rock it and be cool. You know, same thing with the trends. You know, I tell my kids, stop following every trend. Make your own trend. You know, because at the end of the day, you got to be your own boss. You know, and it's crazy how we're not in a situation telling our kids to be more entrepreneurs. You can still work at a job and be productive, but have you some on the side to where if anything goes south at that job, you can walk away easy. You know, I've never been to a point where I'm stuck at a job. I've always got to a point where I try to have more than one job. You know, even when I was working at a moving company making tons of money, I still had a promotion job I was doing where I was doing promotion on the side, and I had my friends doing little moving jobs and stuff. I had myself when I came off the road. You know, I was doing moving jobs at the court where I was doing another job that I had. I would always have me some side hustle, knowing you get a pickup truck, man, that's always year-round money. Everybody wants something to move. Cousins, anybody. I'm not doing it for free. Hey, you gotta pay me. Like you gotta pay those movers. You gotta pay for my service. You know, and that point put into a lot of people's head. Where I let them know that hey, if I go do some work, I need to get paid. My cousin all the time, you know, I do stuff for her. I go pick up stuff for her. You know, she paid for a service. I mean, it's not a free thing because we family. You know, said mom, you know, auntie, some of them, they ain't paying for nothing. They gonna tell you they not gonna pay. But other than that, you know, man, it gets to a point where you have it to the point where you start making money. You start being good at it, you know, so you can pay for things that help your life. Like I was talking about earlier with the food stamps. They 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 put it as a thing to where it's only going to affect a certain demographic. I mean, just coming out saying it's going to only affect black people. No, it's affecting everybody. It's affecting all of us. You know, it's going to affect a slew of people, but to the point like, what are we going to do? Our next motive and stuff like that to get stuff done. Hold on for now. Hit this back up. And so it's gonna affect a lot of people, you know, with us doing what we do. And in the end, like, how is it gonna help everybody? It's gotta affect. It's wet out here, boy. I'm hitting wet grass. Yep, that's it. But shout out to everybody. I'm about to get off of here. Should go drop this. I got work to do. I shouldn't even came straight home. Gotta go drop off this air filter, and I gotta go put some numbers on a house, and I also gotta go put in electric. I gotta put in a Wi-Fi lock. Granted, I might chill for a little bit before I do it because it's early. But needless to say, shout out to everybody. We here, we are gone. Peace.